Welcome to Canadian Innovators, the show that celebrates innovation, entrepreneurs, and the Canadian spirit. I'm Jocelyn, and every week we introduce a new entrepreneur or expert in the economy to tell their stories and unpack the challenges of keeping jobs in Canada, as well as to discuss potential solutions for job growth and prosperity. Today, I'm very excited to have the new president of the Strong and Free Network, formerly the Manning Institute, join me to talk about the vision for the network. Jamil Jivani grew up in a mostly immigrant community in Toronto, where he says he was nearly lost to feelings of hopelessness, anger, and hate. At 16 years old, he was labeled illiterate by the public school system. However, Jamil turned his life around with the support of role models and mentors. He went on to graduate from Yale Law School and teach at Osgoode Hall Law School, and dedicate his career to supporting youth facing challenges like the ones that he dealt with when he was growing up. He partnered with author J.D. Vance to help solve America's opioid crisis, and Jamil's leadership has been recognized with awards from many organizations, including the International Development and Relief Foundation, Yale University, and York University. Most recently, at 31 years old, Jamil survived a fight with stage 4 cancer, which gave him even greater insights on how people can overcome adversity. His first book, Why Young Men? The Dangerous Allure of Violent Movement and What We Could Do About It, was published in 2019. And Jamil has been a radio talk show host and a journalist, and his columns appear regularly in the National Post. Welcome to the program, Jamil.
Well, thanks for having me, Jocelyn.
So I'm going to confess that, Jamil, your program on 1010 was my go-to for driving the kids to hockey. It was always a great show. Jamil, I've given the viewers a brief intro into your life. For those that don't know you, could you please fill in the blanks on my introduction?
Well, yeah, I mean, you touched on a lot of the key parts of my life and my career. I often try to explain to people that I think I've seen both the best of Canada and the worst of Canada. And what I mean by that is I've seen where our systems and our country can fail some people, where institutions are not doing the right thing for young people growing up and giving them a fair chance in our economy. But I've also seen how Canada is a country that gives people second chances like almost no other place on earth, where I could go from being considered illiterate in high school to being an Ivy League trained lawyer. And there's very few countries on earth that I think produce stories like that. So I often think of myself as being a poster boy for what needs to be fixed in Canada, and also what we need to be celebrating and holding on to so that we can pass the right values on to the next generation.
Now, you have a T-shirt behind you. Can you talk to us? I understand that that's an inspiration for you, and we'd like to hear about that.
Yeah, this is behind me is a rapper named Nipsy Hustle from Los Angeles, and he was killed in 2019. One of the reasons I have him on my wall there is that I kind of think of him as an inspirational figure, in the sense that he reminds us that culture matters. You know, this was a young man with tremendous talent. He was a very successful entrepreneur. He was an independent artist who made a fantastic career for himself. But at the same time, he kept one foot in the world of gangs and violence and self-destruction, and trying to live out that balance ultimately caused his death. He was shot and killed because he continued to have a voice that was speaking some of the harmful things that you can find in hip hop subculture. So I think of him as a tragic figure, in the sense that he reminds us of all the talent that exists in young people who often get overlooked, who the school system lets fall through the cracks. But then he also reminds us there are consequences to the things that we say, and that being a rapper who talked about gang violence and guns ultimately meant he could not leave that lifestyle behind, no matter how smart and hardworking he was.
So, Jamil, I love reading your columns in the National Post. We only have about a minute left. Can you share with us your vision for Canada?
In short, I believe that we are at a critical moment in our generation where we have a choice to make about what are the traditions and historical foundations of Canada we need to hold on to that has made this country so special, but also to make sure we continue embracing multiculturalism and an increasingly diverse society. So my vision for Canada is one of balance, and right now we don't get a lot of it.
Yeah, it's true, and we really do need to get that balance back in our country. Now, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to hear about the Strong and Free Network and your goals for the network going forward. You're watching Canadian innovators. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.